Campbell River, and welcome to another exciting edition of Campbell River's premier no-rules cooking show, River Cuisine. We're here today broadcasting from this beautiful kitchen. This is stunning, isn't it?
This is wonderful.
And we thank Urban and Linda Patrick for opening their home to us today. We're overlooking the beautiful Discovery Passage, and I'm here again today with Dennis Vaughan and Dave White from the Royal Coachman. Thanks for coming along again.
It's always a pleasure, Shannon.
And I hear since last time we got together, you have another award of distinction to your credit.
Yes,
Mr. Mushroom.
Yes, Mr. Mushroom. It was a Chanterelles and Champagne event that was held as a fundraising event
For the Public Art Gallery?
for the Public Art Gallery, and there were many chefs there for many locations, and it's quite amazing the talent in town we have.
Yeah.
Everybody did exceptionally well. Very proud of everybody involved. People are still talking about it today, and yes.
So what was your award-winning creation?
What we did was we prepared a chanterelle mushroom d'Uxelles, which was on another program that we did with portobellini mushrooms, and we stuffed a mini puff pastry vol au vent, and on top of that we layer it with a little bit of cream cheese, and then we did a smoked salmon rosette with a base scallop, and on top of that we did a Philadelphia cream cheese white wine sauce on top of that.
Oh, I bet it was beautiful.
With a few chives coming up for the height. And
Yeah.
It was well received.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Apparently.
Presentation is everything too,
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
is. Yes, it
Good.
is. So I was very honored to be chosen as that.
Good. Well, congratulations. Well done.
you. Thank
No
you.
surprise, no small surprise though. We know.
It was for me. There was a lot of
Was it?
stiff competition there.
Good.
Stiff
Well,
competition.
sincere congratulations. So what are we cooking up today?
Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to do another 3-course dinner this time. We're going to start off with a chicken sesame satay skewers with peanut sauce. And
We're dazzling company with this one, right?
it's something that can be prepared the day in advance.
Good, I like
and
that.
be kept
I
in your
like that.
fridge. And then when company arrives, you put it in your oven, and 15 minutes later you have snacks ready to go.
Perfect.
And
So
it'll be quite nice.
okay. So what are we going to start with? The marinade.
We're starting with the chicken breast, which is in the fridge here. It's a very simple recipe. It takes minutes to prepare, so there's nothing to be fearful about.
Okay, we did wash our hands, folks. Nothing to fear there.
Yes, we do. And from
I'll
the
take
fridge.
that.
So as you see, we have a double-breasted chicken here. We'll take the middle tendon out and put that aside.
And what happens with that little puppy?
That little puppy we can either feed to the cats or we could put it in the garbage. If there was a significant amount, we could make a chicken stock out of it. But there's very little that we can do with that right now.
I know what I'd be doing with that.
What would you
I'd
be
be
doing
throwing
with
it in the marinade, and that'd be my little snack as I'm cooking, along with a glass of red wine or something.
Well, you really wouldn't want to because there's a very tough tendon running through the middle of the breast. It's rather
So
tough.
that's why you take that out. That's what
that's
would be
right.
attached to that little
That's right. It comes
gristly
right off the
thing, right?
breastbone.
Okay.
So we're just going to cut this chicken breast here. It could be 4, 5, 6 pieces. If you even wanted to make an entree course out of it, you could leave the chicken breast whole. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut strips out of this
You're doing this on the diagonal.
on the diagonal so that you can get somewhat of the same sizing for the strips. So that's
You're gonna make
one
me-
done.
Thread that onto a skewer somewhere along the line, aren't you?
Yes, I will. And we'll cut this like that
Okay.
and just put it into our bowl. And if you can open up that and marinate
This
that
is
up.
the chef's secret, isn't it?
Chef's secret.
Bistro peanut satay, folks. We'll keep it easy. About
keep it
how much
easy.
of this am I going to pour on here?
Just enough to make it wet. That should be fine.
It's-
Now,
see,
if
there we go.
if you
You're
would
worried
you like
about
to
what I
put
do.
your hands in and
Oh
mix that up?
no! I knew that was
I
coming.
could
You're
do
gonna.
that for you.
Yeah, you do that, Dan.
See
I'll
how
let
I'm
you do
closer
that.
to the sink, so I could do that for her. Now, what we're going to do is traditionally it would be best to let that marinade for a good 2 to 3 hours. Over the evening would be better. We're going to pass that along to Mr. Dave here.
So this is the advanced prep that you could do, right? You just get it all ready to go, stick it in the fridge, and tomorrow we're cooking.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'll skewer this first. It'll make it easier for sauteing. That's 1. That's 2.
So that goes along fairly quick,
Yes, very quick.
and I don't even have to touch it. Bonus.
And I'll just wash my hands as
See
Mr.
ya.
Dave sautés that.
So we're putting these in the oil first and sautéing them just briefly to colorize them before we actually stick them in the oven. Right?
Yes. He's only going to be sautéing that to actually sear the product. And once that's seared, we will put it into the fridge.
So you're going to do this before you start the marinating process?
Yes. You would do that after the marinating.
Oh,
As I
okay,
say, it would
okay.
you would have to marinate that for quite some time.
All right, I'm with you.
Okay, that's perfect.
So what are we going to do with these now? We're just going
These
to...
can go in the fridge
This,
for future.
that's for later.
We're just going to make a couple on camera to let the people see. So
Okay.
this is what we have so far. It's been slightly
We're gonna
seared off.
Tip it this way just a bit. Yeah, it smells
And
pretty darn
now
good.
you can take some sesame seeds and sprinkle them on top with your fingers.
Oh, Dan,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Go liberal. There you go. And then we'll flip them over
Okay.
and do the other side. That's all we have to do. Now,
So we had a mixture of black and regular sesame seeds in here.
yeah, it just adds a little more
Sticking to me.
contrast having the black sesame seeds
Yeah,
in
that
there
looks
as
nice.
opposed to having white. Now you could either put it in your oven directly now, or you could keep it in your fridge for when you want to service it. It'll
Okay.
take 12 minutes in your oven, 350 degrees, and then you would just have a little combo cup of the peanut sauce, and we'll have that trayed up
Yeah.
quite shortly.
Good,
So that's
quick,
all there is to
easy,
that.
looks
Fast,
good,
easy.
tastes great.
And that's all we have to that. So we'll keep that at a refrigerated temperature, and that's the end of that recipe.
So we're ready now to go into the second course, which will be, I can't even begin to describe this one.
The second course is what we're going to do is we're going to take a beef fillet medallion and we're going to butterfly that. We're going to quickly sear that off as we did with the chicken, and we're going to stuff it with Dungeness crab, shrimp,
Oh.
and scallops.
To die for.
We're going to pinwheel that up, bacon wrap it, and it'll be presented on top of a crouton with peppercorn brandy sauce.
Oh,
And it should be quite nice. There's tarragon involved.
I can
with the
hardly
seafood.
wait to get at that one. So
we
let's
can do
clean up,
that.
and we'll be
Yes,
back
we
to you in
will.
just a few minutes. So it's starting to smell pretty darn good in this kitchen. The
it
satays
is.
have turned out beautifully. Steve, you're going to get a shot of that, right? He's drooling over there. Looks pretty darn good. Smells great. So now we're going to make pinwheeled steak, seafood stuffed.
Yes, what we have here is a chateau, almost a chateau size fillet, beef fillet. What it is, it's a
Where do we get
certified
this?
Canadian Angus product that's been graciously donated from Centennial's Food Services. What we're going to do is we're going to butterfly it and stuff it with our shrimp, scallops, crab, some tarragon, a little bit of egg to bind it, seasoning, garlic. And you can see that if I butterflied this all the way and then stuffed it, I would end up with the product after we rolled it about yay thick. That would be far too much. So what we're going to do is
I'm not even going to pretend to try and do this.
yeah,
You're,
we're just going to cut it right in half,
you're the man with the knife.
and we're going to butterfly it open.
Okay.
So-
Never having done this before, I'm going to watch very carefully, just as you.
All right. We're looking for a somewhat of a thicker bite. We want it pinwheeled, but we don't want the meat so thin that it's going to cook rapidly. So we're going to cut it about 1 centimeter, and we're going to go down, and we're just going to keep cutting and cutting and
Oh, so
cutting
you just kind of put it.
and cutting, and we'll do.
Look
something
at
like-
that. That's quite amazing.
So now we've
Let me just
got
move that out of the way.
now we've got a butterflied fillet, and this one we could
Do later.
do the same thing later. We're going to bacon wrap it as well. So we're going to lay the bacon down now,
Okay.
and that way it'll be a lot cleaner, a lot less hassle. So we've got some bacon happening here. And we'll just make it the same width. So when you're laying your bacon, you're basically seeing if your bacon size will fit your meat. And that will
So if
also
not, just
help.
nudge it up a little bit closer. This is not going to shrink down too much.
It'll shrink a touch,
Okay.
but the toothpicks will hold it in place. We're going to skewer it. So that's what we can do with that.
Okay,
Now-
so we've got this beautiful array of seafood here. We've got some Chilean shrimp,
Yes.
some scallops, some fresh Dungeness crab, my
Fresh,
favorite,
yes.
and some fresh garden tarragon.
Fresh garden tarragon. And it's
I
pretty
love-
unique about that. There's a little bit of
Smells
trivia I'd
great.
like to mention about that.
Okay.
Not too many people are aware that tarragon actually came about since Siberia. And it wasn't until the Europeans transplanted it to their nation that it became widely available.
But it's traditionally associated with French cuisine.
Yes,
isn't
it is. Yes, it is. Now, growing in Siberia, it wouldn't be as strong as pungent, but because of the weather changes, it had some reaction on
It's
the
quite
flavoring.
a nice licoricey smell to it.
It's wonderful, wonderful
is.
for any seafoods. And hence, béarnaise sauce, one of the main ingredients, tarragon.
And that's
So-
what gives it that distinctive flavor.
True. So if you can take, let's say, 2 ounces of each, we'll take
2 ounces would
a
be
little handful. About
okay.
15
And this is going in
shrimps.
here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some crab. We'll leave the scallops for later.
Okay.
Same amount of crab. And what we'll do is, if you can take some of those scallops and just cut them up.
Oh, I've been dying to get my hands on this knife.
Yeah.
Cut them up in which fashion?
Slices.
Like so, right?
Yep. Same sizing as the shrimp. That's excellent. So you can do that to all 4 scallops and throw that in our mix as well.
You'd have this done by now, wouldn't you?
Oh no.
You getting impatient with me yet, Dan?
Not at all, not at all. And after that, we're going to chop up some tarragon.
Okay.
And Dave's going to grab a lemon, and we'll just put a little squeeze of lemon into that as well.
Okay.
We do have a little bit of garlic that we're going to add to it. Of course, I like garlic. Some people might think that's too much, but you can never have too much. Well, we'll put a little more.
Sure. You pass me that cloth, please. I'm just going to wipe my hands. Thank you.
And I'll just give the knife a wipe here and add a squeeze of lemon.
There
Next,
we go.
we're going to add a little bit of seasoning salt to that.
Just a
Couple
sprinkle.
of shakes. Perfect. And we are going to add a little bit of egg white there to bind it, as mentioned earlier.
So we've beaten this just a bit to break it up so
yes,
that
this
I
is
can...
only 1 egg worth of egg white, and we're only going to be using just about 1/3 of that. So
You ready to say
about
when?
1/3. Perfect.
There we go. Okay,
And now you can take your fork and mix it all together.
and I'm just going to toss it together so all of the seafood is lightly coated.
That's right. And as you do that, I'm going to season the meat with a little more
Oh,
seasoning.
this smells so good.
And before we continue, if
So
you
the
can-
egg white serves to bind this together, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
And you're going to just give that a rough chop
You
as
did
well.
ask me to do this, didn't you? How's that?
Perfect. Maybe about the same amount.
Again?
Yeah, just a few more leaves.
Okay.
And once you mix that in, we're gonna
That's going in
slightly
here.
layer that onto the fillet. That's it. Perfect. Done.
Smells good, looks good. I think you didn't do a very good job of getting
That's
those
all we need. That's all we need.
scallops down there. Okay.
Now, if you can just layer this.
I'm doing this
a
with my
touch.
hands?
Oh, you can use it with your fork. Lift up the bowl. Hands is a beautiful thing. Well, when you deal with food and you're with your hands, it's more personal.
It's easier, right? It's just easier.
It means you love what you're doing when you touch it with your. Okay, and that's basically it. There we go.
So we'll save this for the
Now,
other fillet that we have to do later.
we're just going to roll that back up, right?
This is the part I always have problems with, if it all squeezes out. Like, you know those wrap sandwiches that you guys do so
Right,
beautifully well
right.
at the Royal Coachman? I'm hopeless with them.
Well,
Maybe
this
we'll
is-
have to do that on camera one day and you can show me the fine art of rolling a wrap sandwich.
Oh, we can do that. Yeah. But this is where the hands come in. That's
Here,
where the
see,
love comes in. You can
You've
just
lost
stuff
this
it
little bit
back.
of crab here. There you go.
Okay, stick it in there. Stick it in there. Now we're going to gently put the bacon around.
It's a work of art.
One by one by one by one. Looks difficult, but as you can see, it's very simple, very easily prepared.
And this is going to be so impressive
and
when
your
it's done.
guests will be wowed to no end. Now, to keep this bacon from falling off, we're going to take some toothpicks,
I'm just going to put these back in the mix.
which are right here. And of course, we don't want to.
Oh, see, I was just
Have
going to
that.
ask about that. What about those little
Put
plastic
them in.
jobbies there?
They will be removed after the cooking process. They're only there to keep the bacon in place.
I don't want to choke
So
your
We
guests.
don't want to choke our guests. There's a couple of funny stories about that, but
Yeah, I've heard of one
maybe
recently
another
about a
day.
chef at the Royal Coachman.
No, you couldn't have heard that. Thank God for the Heimlich maneuver. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
And one more piece, right here.
so just stick this in each of the bacon ends.
Right.
Okay.
Now, depending on how hungry your guests are, or are going to be, you can cut this at any thickness you want. You can either cut it into 1 centimeter or a 1 inch. Me, myself, I don't know about you, but I'm a big eater. So
I'm with you.
let's go. Let's go big.
Let's go. And it just
So
looks nicer. I
While we
think,
cut
too, doesn't
this, Dave is heating our frying pan, and we're going to just quickly sear it in a frying pan with olive oil, and then it's going to go into the oven, and we're going to finish cooking it
Look
in
at
the
how
oven.
pretty this looks.
Yeah, it turned
That's-
out rather well.
I think we knew what we were doing here.
Sometimes. Yeah.
In
So
your-
here we go.
In your case, we better hope.
We'll just pass that over.
So when you say quickly sear it, we're going to give it about how much time?
We're going to quickly sear it on an intense heat at no more than 45 seconds to a minute because we are going to be finished baking it in the oven.
So it'll bake for approximately how long?
Well, it depends on how you like your fillet.
We're going to want this quite rare,
you shouldn't
I think.
have to cook this any more than a rare to medium or a steak. The more you cook it, you're bastardizing the meat if you cook it any more than a
Are
medium
you
or
allowed
a
to
steak.
say that on CRTV? Sorry, folks, we're okay.
Well, it's true. It's the most expensive piece of meat you could want, and you don't want to wreck the meat.
No,
you want
that's
all
for
of the
sure.
tenderness. It's the most tender piece that you have there.
So we're going to make a sauce to go on this,
We
right?
are making a sauce, and what we're going to do is we're going to match it with a peppercorn brandy sauce. And as Dave is sautéing the meat, we are going to clean up our station, and we're going to get ready for the sauce.
Okay, so briefly, we've taken a fillet, we've butterflied it, we've taken some seafood, and this could be any selection of seafood, whichever you
Yes, it
chose
can
and
be.
like.
I'm rather fond of the scallops
Yeah.
and crab myself.
Works for me. With some chopped tarragon, mixed it with a little bit of garlic and some egg yolk and some lemon.
Egg
And
white?
or egg yolk, rather. Egg white. I know what I'm talking about. And the purpose of that is just to bind that seafood together.
Yes, it's
so it
for the
doesn't fall
protein.
out.
The egg white has a high intense protein, and it'll bind everything together. It'll make everything tight.
Okay, so we'll clean this up and get ready to make the sauce. So we've got our sesame chicken peanut sautés all ready to go.
Yes.
We've got our steaks ready to go in the oven, or our pinwheel fillets. And now we're going to do the vegetable course, every kid's favorite.
Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to take a tomato, we're going to crown it, cut it in half, crown it. We're going to stuff it with a braised red cabbage, which is prepared with some red wine vinegar, caraway seed, sugar, garlic, and some butter, or sorry, olive oil. What we're going to do is, here's a tomato for you, just to show the audience how to crown a tomato. We're just going to take a small piece off of the end. That's a nice sharp knife, isn't it?
Oh, good chef.
Yeah. And
I
now,
got the good one, you see.
you can put the big one away now.
So I don't need to do this top end?
Nope,
I'm good?
nope.
Okay, we're dancing.
And you hold your tomato between your two fingers, and with your knife at a 45-degree angle, just press down. Hold your finger here,
Oh,
yeah,
this hardly seems
and
right.
go all the way down to your finger, and that will
Not through my finger, though.
to your finger. And now you turn the tomato, and you go at another 45-degree
Okay,
angle.
so I'm just going to do a sawtooth pattern here,
Yep,
right?
sawtooth all the way.
All the way around. I've actually done this at home before, but it was not a pretty sight.
Some people are confused about how to do, but as you can see,
You
it's
know,
very
what
easy.
I never did before was I didn't ever crown it. So there they are. If you don't balance them just right, they're kind of bouncing all over the place.
Well, if we're lucky enough, they'll match up.
Well, yours will, and that's why we pay you the big bucks.
Hey, there you go.
I've not even finished yet.
You
Look
might
at
have
that.
to-
Excuse me, but look at
Perfect.
that. Absolutely perfect.
I told you you were
I'm
a
watching,
natural.
I'll be
You
watching
didn't
over
believe
my
me.
job.
So we just pull them apart, like such,
Like
and
that.
grab your spoon
Okay.
and just give it a little bit of a. Actually, we'll bring this up for the. Well, I call
Okay.
them tomato guts.
This
so
is going in the soup stock pot, right?
that'll go into your stock.
Along with those little chicken bits and. Right?
That's right.
Okay, how much of this stuff are we taking out?
We're trying to
This-
empty the
So we're going
majority
to take
of it
out this core thing here too?
It's not necessary, but sure,
Okay.
makes
well,
it more pleasant. Now we can move all these
How
little
come you
bits.
go so much faster than I do?
Habit.
I guess.
I'll try to slow down.
I'll try to catch up. We're doing this, as you said earlier, housewife style.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, we'll put these on the plate. Now, as I said, we are going to stuff it with a
We're
braised
finished
red
with that, right?
cabbage. Here's the red cabbage. Dave is going to take a couple of handfuls of this and saute it in olive oil. He's going to take 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of garlic, teaspoon if you're not too fond of garlic, but we
Well,
are here.
We are.
Just a very little bit of caraway seed. You're looking at maybe 10 little grains of caraway seed.
That's a fairly powerful little spice there,
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
is.
So
It's
we
very
won't-
aromatic.
Yeah.
You don't want to go too heavy. Half teaspoon of sugar and a pinch of salt and pepper. And we'll pass all of that back to Dave. And as he's doing that, we will prepare our tomato that we already have some cabbage prepared with. Just to get that out
This
of
is
the
the
way
part
and
that I like.
show you how to do it.
Now,
So
you want
bring
just
the
the
plate
tomato
over here.
plates or just
Bring
the
the full
tomato
plate
bits?
over. So here's our red cabbage. You can take just a little pinch of each and stuff each
Now,
tomato.
let me do
Oh,
this with
before
my
you do
hands
that,
again.
let's just season the tomato a touch.
A touch,
There you go.
okay. Now I'm just gonna. Oh, that smells really good.
It is. It's very, very aromatic.
Now you see, if I were getting dressed for work,
That's perfect.
purple and red are not colors I'd put together.
You wouldn't know if you spilt, though. It blends in rather well.
But this looks
Okay,
pretty good.
That's great.
Okay.
Well, you might as well do the other two.
Well, I've got my hands
Yeah,
dirty.
I've
Okay.
seen how they're dirty already. I've already previously blanched off some cauliflower and some broccoli, and we're going to take a little floret of each, and we're going to put that on top of the braised red cabbage.
Okay, Master Chef. What do you
So
think?
what we're going to do,
Are we okay here?
excellent, perfect. So what we're going to do is just cut them to size, and we're going to put them on top of
Oh,
that
isn't
like
that
that.
pretty?
And as you see, you do have to basically cut your ingredients to size.
So you've laid them on here. Now, this is what I love watching. I do this, and then Dennis very quietly comes along and redoes it behind me. Resist the urge, Dan. Resist the urge.
And we'll just put that on there.
Okay.
And if you've been watching previous shows, we are fond of cheese, are we not?
We do. We like
So-
cheese and garlic.
Let's put a little bit of angel hair Parmesan on there.
Okay. And what kind of Parmesan are we using here?
This is Reggiano again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm rather fond of the Reggiano. So our vegetable is ready. We just need to put that into our oven
And are we,
with our beef at the same time. By the time the tomato is cooked, the beef will be ready.
so these
we
are
can
going to
put
take
those at the
about
same
8
time.
to 10 minutes?
8 to 10 minutes.
Just on a
Yeah,
bake.
just to
Okay.
heat them up. So I'll put that over here. And now we can
Purple cabbage sticks to you.
start on our potato bake.
Okay.
And this is a very, very, very nice recipe. What we're going to do is we're going to take a different wide variety of root vegetables, including the potato itself. And we've already done a lot of prep on this in terms of cutting and slicing and dicing so that we don't bore you at home.
This looks like a lot of work, though.
Yes. Dave, could you pass me the olive oil, please?
So we have some.
Okay, this is regular Idaho potato.
Oh, get out of here. I thought that was going to be like a daikon or something.
No, it's just potato that's been sliced.
Okay.
We have carrot,
Some sweet potatoes
sweet
here.
potato, rutabaga, and we're going to also throw in
Rutabaga.
some pear. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of olive oil in here.
So you could do this. You're doing this on the food processor, right?
Yes, you
You've got
can.
your-
And we're just going to slide it around with the potato.
See, that's how I do it at home. Never mind the little.
Oh, forget the brush.
Okay, a layer of potatoes on the bottom.
Layer of potatoes. Like such.
So have you put something on these to keep them from going brown?
They were in water earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a little bit of seasoning. Next, you can do a layer of.
Orange?
We're thinking of color consistency. We want to go basically white, yellow, white, orange, and continue through on. So we can go
So
carrot
carrots next. Now, you want them laying in the same direction, or do you care?
Different direction.
Different direction.
Brick
I knew.
style.
I knew you'd care.
Think of yourself as a masonry worker.
Yeah.
Kind of like the old Lego days.
Those aren't so far away. You know, the girls aren't that old yet.
As you do that, I'm going to slice some pear for.
Okay. And
for another layer.
I'm gonna go with the turnips or the rutabagas next, right?
Yes.
See
Make
what
sure you basically cover the full circumference area.
So that it doesn't mound up in the middle, you mean? Is that what you're
Yeah.
meaning? Okay. Okay, rutabagas. Oh, do you want me to season this layer?
Yes.
Please. Excuse me, I'm gonna reach in front of you.
And we're also going to put a pinch of thyme just for some added flavoring.
So do you have any trivial notes about time?
Trivial notes about thyme. As a matter of fact, I do.
Aha. Why doesn't this surprise me?
Surprised me. Thyme is actually a member of the mint family.
Ah.
Yes. And
So that's
it's
why it makes
also a
such a good
perennial
ground
plant.
cover, right? When you're
That's right. Yeah. Now that was a shock to me, but also the thyme
Oh, that's pretty.
blossom is the honeybee's favorite blossom for
Is it?
producing honey. So that's another little piece that you could use. So now we can layer it with the pear as well.
Oh, okay.
We'll put some fruit in there. You can use apple if you wish.
All right.
Now, I think many people at home know that you have your potato, which is a very high starch product. Your carrot has a high starch. turnip has a high starch, but the sweet potato and the pear have a very high moisture content.
Yes.
So because of this, we have to prepare this at a very low heat. We're looking at 250 degrees. If we were to bake it off at 350 degrees, half of it would be cooked and half of it wouldn't. So we have to try to regulate the cooking evenness by the temperature of the oven.
So does cooking at that slower temperature, that helps to evaporate some of that moisture out?
It also does as well,
See?
yes.
You have to be part chemist for this too.
Brains. Let's keep putting the layers up.
Oh, we're doing more.
Yeah, because as it cooks, it's going to fall down.
Okay, so
And,
we got some potatoes here.
Let me put some of that on you.
It doesn't matter if this is curly because I saw you smash it all down there not so long
we'll
ago.
just break it a bit.
See, always just perfectionist, aren't you?
Yeah. And we'll put some orange on top of that. We'll get a little more orange coloring in there.
That one, I'm sorry.
Now after this is prepared, if you let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, it'll actually cut like a cake.
Oh,
and
after
you can
it's
make your
cooked.
circular shapes, diamond shapes, put it on the plate. It'll look rather elegant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Am I driving you crazy? Going too slow?
No,
Here, let me speed it up a
you
bit.
never drive me crazy.
You're too kind to me, Dennis. Oh, they're slipping and sliding all over. I'm going to use the
Just
rest
a
of these
silly, skinny
carrots.
white boy. That's all. Did we put any rutabaga in it yet?
Not yet, no.
Well,
And you know what
we
I
need-
didn't do?
we
I
need
didn't
some
season.
rutabaga.
I didn't season that layer of
That's
potatoes.
okay. We don't want to over-season it. Just a touch here and there is fine.
You know, did I put sweet potatoes on that last round?
One can hope so. It's too late.
The company will never know.
The company won't know. They'll just be so overwhelmed by what you've done already.
I don't think I did. Okay, and we can't just take it apart now, can we?
No, we can't. Not on camera.
No. That would be too redundant, wouldn't it?
So we'll just do that there.
Oh,
We'll
see,
put
that's
a little of that.
very nice.
What she's doing here with the sweet potato, putting it on last, is actually the best thing to do because it does have
See,
a
I
very
knew that.
high moisture content, and as it bakes, it'll keep the rest of it kind of dry.
There you go.
So there we go with that. Now what we need is just a touch of this, a little more thyme, a touch of seasoning, and some white wine, which
Aha.
we are only going to be, because it's such a small unit and there is a lot of moisture in there, we're only going to be putting about 1/8 of a cup of white wine. The wine that's being put in here now will help it to start cook. As the heat in there reaches it, it'll start to steam it actually.
Yeah, the steam will be very
So
hot.
traditionally we would cover this with tin foil, put it in the oven for 1.5 hours, remove the tin foil off, and then let it continue baking without the tin foil.
Okay.
And that's all it is.
Well, it smells pretty nice.
Yes, it'll
Looks-
smell better when
and
it's
it looks lovely.
So we'll put that to the side, and that's basically it. Would you like to recap anything?
So we've done the tomatoes with the red pepper. No, not red pepper.
Braised red cabbage with
braised
caraway
red cabbage.
seed.
Okay, I got it.
Garlic, red wine vinegar,
Uh-huh.
Salt, sugar, and pepper.
That's right. And we've capped those off with florets of broccoli and cauliflower.
Yes.
Some Parmesan cheese.
Yes.
We're going to bake that along with the meat course.
Yes.
And
Just a note too, if you do have any bacon at home or bacon fat, that would be quite pleasant on your braised cabbage as well. Instead of the olive oil, you get that nice bacon flavor.
Sort of gives, European flavor. So now, in the grand scheme of things, what we would have done is prepared that potato dish ahead and put that in the oven already because it's going to take some time.
Yes, you would like to have that prepared. If you were serving dinner at 5:30, you would like to have that in the oven at least at 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Okay, so now we're going to clean this up and get ready for the
Frozen Grand Marnier soufflé.
dessert course. That
Yes.
sounds great to me. See you in a few minutes. Okay, we're ready to go with a spectacular dessert. What have you got for us?
Well, we're taking more of a cheater's method to this dessert. It's a frozen Grand Marnier soufflé, meaning it's not really a traditional soufflé. It's
This is the one that you called earlier, doing it housewife style. I heard
Yeah,
you
yeah.
say
What
that.
we're going to be doing is the traditional recipe for this is very complicated. So
I'm sure it would be.
we want to stay away from complication. Normally, we would have to make an egg yolk sabayon, which is cooking egg yolks over a heat, very similar to making for a hollandaise, with simple syrup and brandy, and then taking the egg whites and making a meringue and gently folding it into whipping cream, adding our liquor and freezing it. But
You make that
that's a
sound
lot of
so
trouble. That's a lot of trouble. So we're going to
Yeah.
take the easy way. We're gonna whip up some whipping cream into a very firm state, adding some Grand Marnier, some sugar, orange zest, and we're gonna fake it like that. And
Okay.
it still comes out the same product as you would, although because the meringue isn't in it, it won't be as fluffy, but the taste will be just as powerful, just as strong, and it can be created within minutes in your own home as opposed to having to go through a half an hour
Right.
process.
And nobody will ever know that you cheated, right? Good.
Very few people will know.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
So, if
Take
you
the
were-
lid off the
No,
food
no,
processor.
You can keep the lid
Oh,
on
look
that,
at
for
that.
now. You can add some orange zest
That's going to go right in the...
right inside.
I love this food
It is.
processor.
It's wonderful. And you can turn it on first. So it might be a little bit loud for you, those at home, and hear a little decibel increase. Don't need to worry.
Okay.
So you can slowly add that into it. Add about 1 cup.
It's going to come out the top.
That's perfect, perfect, perfect. Just put your hand over top of it with a towel,
Okay.
and you just leave it as such. Now, you do have to look into it now and again.
I'm going to turn it off before I look
Yeah,
into it if it's all
take
the
a look
same
at
to
it.
you.
It's just starting to whip.
It's just coming out.
You do not want to add your sugar too early in the whipping stage because the sugar granules will actually not allow the air to incorporate properly in your whipping cream. So we're at a stage right now where it's half whipped and we can slowly add some sugar into it as it's whipping.
So we have about a cup of cream in there. We're going to put about how much sugar in there? No rules now. Just
No
guys
rules.
Just go for it.
If you like it really sweet, add a good 2 tablespoons. If you're not too high on the sweetness level, 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
So you can turn that on,
I'm going to stand back.
and we'll just slowly add some sugar in there. I got a sweet tooth.
Yeah, that.
Lots of sugar.
that and
Okay,
garlic.
turn it off. No, just a bit more. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little more cream to that.
Oh, a little more.
No rules. You can always cheat. Just throw it in there if it's not working out too well.
So at what point do we add the Grand Marnier? Is that while it's whipping or?
Just before the peak stage.
Okay.
Just before the peak stage. Let's see. Okay, you can start whipping that without the cloth now because it's not going to be spitting out. Except now.
Do I have to hang on to this?
Now you can do this in a bowl with a regular whip. We're just going to slowly add this Grand Marnier in there.
Oh, I like this measurement here.
Turn it off. And that's about right.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go.
Oh, Dave.
Oh, Dennis. Oh, Dave. I'll let you
See,
lick. I'll let you lick it
that's
later.
how
I'll
good
let you
it
lick
is.
the
I
bowl
forget
later.
where I am. Okay, so does this come out or do I just lift this whole gizmo off?
Yeah, it just lifts right up.
There you go.
Move this out of the way. You
Okay, can I move this now?
can take that out of the way, Mr. Dave, please. Now, we have a lot of different options on serving this certain dish. One option is taking it directly from there and putting it in your glass. Another is actually lining your glass with some chocolate, which we just happen to have melted, which we'll do. And Shannon loves this part because she gets to finger paint.
That's right. Finger painting with chocolate.
Finger painting with chocolate is
Life is good.
chocolate 101. So we'll take some chocolate that we've melted. This is just regular baker's chocolate, and away you go.
My hands are clean, and I'm just going to go in there and do this, right?
Yes, line the full inside.
Well, you know, that's kind of warm.
It's not that warm. It's not that warm.
Holy, that's downright hot.
Hot? Is it hot?
Yes, it is.
It's not hot. It's warm. It's acceptable. Here we go. Beautiful. You see, as chefs, we've burnt ourselves so many times we have no
you
feeling
have no
left.
sense, no feeling.
Do you want me to finish that one off for you?
No,
Bring
it's
it right
cooled
up to the
down
rim.
now. Good timing.
Bring it right up to the rim. Perfect.
Okay.
So now you can take the spatula. Do you have a towel? Wipe your finger off there, sweetheart. There you go.
That's nice chocolate.
It is.
Dave. Dennis. Okay, so now what?
You can spatula some of that into there. If you want the spoon, do you want the spoon perhaps? It'd be easier for you.
Yeah, I think
Don't
so.
move
I'm
it
just
around
going
too much because it'll
to take
break.
it down off the edges. It'll break.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Whipping
I'm gonna,
cream melts without stabilizer.
So I'm gonna just go
Just
right
dump
in
it in.
here. Fill it right up.
Fill it right up.
See, I've had to stand on my toes to do this. Good enough?
Okay, now, because it's called a frozen Grand Marnier souffle, it's not baked at all, but as most people know, when you do bake a traditional souffle, it will rise. So we want to give that perception that did bake, even though it didn't. It's impossible for it to. So we'll just put a little bit of parchment paper, which we've taped together, making a cylinder, and she's going to fill it up 1 centimeter of the way.
1 centimeter of the way.
And that should be fine. That's good.
Right here and right
I
now,
think-
or do you want
yeah.
a spoon in?
Okay, one more. What the heck? Give it a little tap so that it falls down.
Do I get to eat the rest of these?
Well, no, because we're going to do something else with that.
Okay.
Now we're going to put this into the freezer. It'll probably take about 2.5 hours to become solid.
That's going to be very pretty.
Yes, it will. And when it comes time to service, if you're having dinner guests over, after they finish their dinner, take it out of the freezer, let it temper for 15 minutes. Otherwise, it'll be rock solid. So you want to let it temper, and it'll be spoonable.
Okay.
Okay. Now, because we have some chocolate left over, we're going to make some designs with chocolate. And, you know, I remember back 20 years ago in my cooking course, they tried teaching me how to make little piping bags out of the
Little
parchment
cones out of
paper.
these?
And, you know, to this day, I still can't do it.
No, I can't. I've never been able to do that.
So
you're going to show us a trick, aren't you?
Thank God for the sandwich bag. And this is what we're going to do.
This
We're going
is
to
high
fold
tech,
it back.
high-tech chef equipment.
And believe it or not, this is going to be our piping bag
Okay.
for this. And if you could do me the favor
I'm not sticking my hands in that.
and take some chocolate and put it in this bag.
Okay.
Yeah, just put it right in. And I'll squeeze it out.
How much do you want?
Oh, one more like that.
So you've melted this over a double boiler?
Over a double boiler, over the lowest heat you could. We've added, to 1 pound of chocolate, we've added 1 ounce of butter. That should be fine, dear.
Butter.
Butter, and that'll help make it flow easily.
You know why I took this though, don't you?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
So now that we've got it in our bag, what we can do is just take the end off to make a very fine pinhole, and we'll do some decorations with that.
Okay, this is going to be
And
very
this
pretty.
is our wax paper, which we'll lay it on. So we'll just take a very fine snippet off of there.
And make sure that little plastic snippet doesn't end up in your chocolate, right?
Here you
I'll
go.
take care of that. Thank you.
Thanks. So we can do whatever we want. And here she comes. We'll just do triangles. And the more interlaces you have, the better.
So it doesn't fall apart when
So
you...
it doesn't fall apart when it sets in the fridge.
You can let me try one?
Yes, we have some in the fridge.
No, doing one.
I'm just going to do one more thing. We're going to make a, let's say, a cap if you want to make a lid for it. So here you go.
Okay.
They can be bigger, smaller, whatever you want. If you want to make a star design or a moon shape,
Oh.
a sun.
Now you do that.
Well, it does take a minute or two to get used to. How about doing a star? Right?
You see, you've operated sandwich bags before.
Or another triangle. Sometimes if you just make your outline first.
Very nice.
So those are just a few of the possibilities that you can do at home. You can draw a Mickey Mouse if you want. But that's basically
Nice
about
for you
it.
to say. So this is going to go in the freezer. This chocolate's going to set. We'll peel the backing off of that, and these are going to garnish our dessert, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we just happen to have some of these prepared in the fridge.
Aren't you clever?
And as you can see, they come out and they're rather sturdy. They don't really break too easily. But this is what we're going to garnish them with. So if you want to open the fridge, and I'll put these in the fridge and they can be used later. And for those of you that really want to get ambitious at home, it doesn't necessarily have to go into a wine glass. What you can do is take an orange, take the end off, such as that, and then cut the inside of your orange out without going through the bottom of your orange. Now I'm going to do this very quickly, but for those of you at home, it might take you a little longer. It's just for those that get ambitious enough. Once you do that, you can paint the inside with the chocolate, then put your mousse inside. And if you want to go one step farther, you can buy a tunneler, and you can tunnel strands of your orange so that when they are placed on the plate, they will fall down, and when it's frozen, it looks very,
pretty.
very attractive. As a matter of fact,
You just happen to
we
have
just
one
we
of
just
those.
happen to have one of those. And here it is. And here we go. We have a couple of them. And we can take one of these.
So again, you would have filled that with the souffle
Yeah.
and put the parchment
frozen
up
right
to
to
build
the-
that up.
We'll just say that these are on two separate plates, but you can put this against that. Or you can put a lid and wedge that on top of it as well.
So this is where you would have tempered it.
This is where you would have tempered it, yes.
So you can actually work with
So
it.
that you could work with it.
Yeah.
But such as
Okay.
that. And it will work together quite fine.
And I bet it tastes absolutely delicious.
You can see that it's starting to frost now. When you first took it out of the freezer, it wasn't frosting, but in 15 minutes, this will actually look like an orange snowball. It'll be completely covered with frost, but the color of the orange will come through, and it looks really spectacular
I'll
on
bet
the
it
plate.
does. I'll
But
bet
we
it does.
can plate this a little later as it tempers.
Okay.
And right now, I think what we'll do is clean up, and we'll start plating our final course, the
Okay.
main course with the fillet,
That'll
and
give you
have
a chance.
everything ready.
Give the viewing audience a chance to see what everything looks like and what you're actually going to serve your company. So
Yes.
we'll take care of this and be back to you in a few minutes. So we're coming down to the fine strokes. We're just about finished. We're going to do the peppercorn sauce, peppercorn brandy sauce,
Peppercorn brandy sauce
For the
with
pinwheels?
Madagascar peppercorns.
right? Then we're going to plate up.
Then we're going to plate up.
But before we do that, we have some people that we need to thank. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Thrifty Foods, Marketplace IGA, the North Island Co-op, Save On Foods, and your friend from Centennial Foods.
From Centennial Food Services, Kevin Black,
That's
who
right.
donated the certified Canadian Angus.
And
Filet.
once again, we'd like to give our sincere thanks to Linda and Urban Patrick for letting us use this beautiful kitchen. We've had fun here today, and I hope they have had too watching all of this production unfold.
A wonderful kitchen to work in.
It is a beautiful
It's just
kitchen.
great.
I'd love
Everything
something
is
like
here.
this. Yeah, it's been great. Thanks to you, Dennis, and to you, Dave, and to
Thank
all
you.
of the camera crew at CRTV. I would like to do a little plug, though, for the Canadian Diabetes Association.
I think that would be a really good
if
idea.
it's not
yes.
too shameless. They've produced this beautiful salmon cookery cookbook, and I've used a couple of the recipes. Now, Dennis, there's a couple of your articles featured in here. We did the steamed salmon in the rice
The
paper.
steamer basket, yes.
In the steamer basket, and also the little phyllo pastry ones,
The
right?
phyllo pastry we did with the halibut, although in
That's
the
right.
book it's with salmon.
That's right.
Yes.
Beautiful recipe, that one. It's
Thank you
great,
so much.
great for
I've had a
entertaining.
lot of feedback on that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Tremendous book produced by Anne Cask. All proceeds benefiting the Canadian Diabetes Association, available right here in Campbell River, the salmon capital of the world. So,
Right.
with that said and done, let's go to plating.
Okay, plating.
Oh no, we're going to do the peppercorn sauce first, right?
Right, we just have a peppercorn brandy sauce that we're going to be adding the brandy at the moment.
So we've got about how much peppercorns?
You're looking at 2 tablespoons of Madagascar green peppercorns. These peppercorns are not your traditional hard, crunchy peppercorns. They've been marinated. They've been sitting in brine, quite soft, very
And how spicy
very
are they?
non-pungent
Okay.
and not hot, very mild. You'd be very, very impressed with it. You can use the same type of sauce on pork or chicken if you were to add whipping cream to it. If you were to add whipping cream to it and finish it off, it would be called then a demi-cream sauce,
Okay.
which is very, very nice for those
And
dishes as
the
well.
advantage to doing that with the chicken is just to lighten the sauce up a
Just
bit?
to lighten the sauce up, otherwise you have too much of a strong beef flavor. Right now we do have a traditional beef brown sauce. Us at home call it gravy.
Yeah. Au jus?
and those in the restaurant industry call it brown sauce.
Okay.
So that's
So-
what we have.
So we're going to go about making these plates look really pretty for our company.
Yes, in the meantime, Dave's going to finish that sauce off. We'll just take the plate.
Okay.
We have taken a piece of bread and we've cut out a circular cylinder piece of bread, and we will be placing the filet medallion on top of that.
Okay.
Before we do this, we are just going to bring over some food on
On
this
your way.
side. And pair of tongs.
So these have baked for about 10 minutes in a...
They were 10 minutes in a 350-degree oven.
And the tomato
The
baked
tomato
alongside
went
with it.
alongside the beef. When the tomato's ready, the beef is ready. You do not want the
Okay.
beef to become any more than medium
Okay.
Even medium is overcooking this type of a beef. It should be eaten at a rare to medium or a steak.
Okay. And what's the purpose of wrapping this with bacon? It just,
Now,
you often see filet wrapped with bacon.
The reason why you're wrapping it with bacon, Shannon, is because there's absolutely no fat content, no marbling at all within the filet medallions. You might be looking at 1 or 2%. Because there's no fat inside, you bacon wrap it, and as it cooks, the fat of the bacon will melt into the filet, keeping it moist and tender.
Keeps it nice and moist.
And you
okay.
also get that nice smokiness flavor of
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah, it's a long-standing traditional pairing, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
So it's really important to remove the toothpicks out of the...
For company that we
out of
care
the-
for, yeah.
Yes, and for those companies that you're really not fond of.
Now
you
this
keep
is
them in, I
this
guess.
here is the potato dish that we had done earlier. That's layered with the sweet potatoes and the rutabaga and the carrots. And we
Yes.
finished that off
We've also
with
placed
cheese.
pear inside
Pear,
as well.
that's right.
And we've just sprinkled it with a little bit of cheese. Once again, big cheese fanatics. But the cheese will also help keep it together.
So when this comes out of the oven, you really need to let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes
Yes,
just
you do.
so it sets, and then you can actually take these out and cut it into shapes, and it handles quite well, doesn't it?
It handles very well.
Okay.
As you'll soon see, I'm just about to grab a knife, if you could for me, please. And we'll cut that and place it on our plate with our vegetables.
I wish I had a guy like Dave in my
And
kitchen,
I'm also
you know?
going to need some asparagus. We have a little bit of asparagus cooked up. So what type of a shape of a potato should we? Should we just do a triangle or a square or a diamond, or
I was
just
going
go
to say,
straight?
I was going to say make me a star, but a rectangle will do.
You're getting me back for the chocolate, aren't you? Oh my God. I'm never going to live it down. So we'll just put it on an angle somewhat similar to that. We have our crouton
Oh, it
here.
smells so good.
It really is a wonderful thing. We can take our beef fillet. Is the sauce ready at the moment? Yeah. Excellent. We can take a little bit of the sauce. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on top of the croûte.
Oh my, that smells
We'll
so
put a little bit of the
good.
sauce on the plate. We don't have to be too neat about it.
Oh, just don't do that to me right there.
Yeah.
That smells so good.
And we will take the fillet and
With the toothpick removed.
we're just going to kind of like put it up on edge here. I think that
That
would
it
be
really
nice.
is quite rare, isn't it?
It is. It's a beautiful rare. We've got a garnish here. If some people want, they can add that there. We have a
The crab leg, that'll complement the crab and the scallops and the shrimp inside.
We can put the scallop near to that, and we have our
Oh, this is beautiful.
crown with braised cabbage. We can put that there. Things are looking a little bit too tight, and we can have that coming off like so. Now the
Lovely.
last finishing touch we're going to do is just to finish off a little bit of a drizzle.
Now that is a
And-
spectacular presentation. That is just beautiful.
One piece of lemon. I've abandoned you, Shannon.
You have, yeah, well,
Oh, here we go.
warn me next time.
And a little bit of lemon. We can either go with the traditional lemon twist
Just to give it a little
on
extra
the
color
edge,
for that seafood.
or you could go with a wedge. Now, what you want to do is completely a person's own choice.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it looks like this or like this, I like the twist myself.
Yeah, the twist looks
Let's
pretty.
put
Let's
that
turn
out.
that around for Steve. See how he's doing there. That looks pretty darn good. Look at Steve's tongue hanging down to his knees, just ready to dive into that.
I'm just
It
going to
looks pretty
squeeze
good.
around you here for a second. There we
Okay.
go. And that's all we have.
There.
That's all we
Well,
have.
except we're going to do a little drizzle of something with the desserts. They've turned out
Oh,
absolutely
yes.
beautifully. You've decorated that with a little bit of raspberry and peach coulis.
Yes, and
Coulis, pardon my
just
French.
a little bit of turning around for them at home.
Yeah, those little
And
chocolate jobs that I failed
For those of us
miserably
that
at.
like Grand Marnier, we can really overdo it.
Just, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of which,
there we go.
Cheers.
Cheers, another one. This was great. Good
It was a
fun.
lot of
Thank
fun.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in, and we look
we
forward
did.
to seeing you next time round. From
Cheers.
River Cuisine, cheers. We're done, big
We're
guy.
done.